Welcome to the Nasboys podcast. Now, did you know that in 700 Cup starts, Buddy Baker only finished on the lead lap 110 times? However, he did lead 9,744 laps and completed 151,375 in his 35-year career. That is honestly an insane stat that I didn't even know. So, anyways, guys,
Yeah.
welcome to the Nas Boys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Fob Fan 101, with my good friends and co-host Christian, aka Savage NASCAR.
What to do, Nasboys crew? 101, Fob Fam 101 episode.
Yeah, that was actually the title I was thinking of, or something along those lines, surprisingly. But anyways, we also got Cam, aka Noticed_Cam.
Howdy, y'all.
So let's get down to talking about this weekend's races over in wine country, Sonoma. Seemed like a pretty nice weekend down there as per usual in California. However, I wish that they would run it in February because you could see really how the grass would look so much greener and it doesn't just look dead like a desert. But let's see, we got Adam Devine. He did the command for the Cup race. I believe Shaq was there, right? DJ Diesel, Shaq.
Yeah, he was playing some music down there. It was hot weather, but it looked like a great crowd too. Great atmosphere.
Definitely,
yeah, it looks really lively.
Yeah, definitely. Glad to see NASCAR getting some more representation in California. Even though I'm not from there, I'm just, California is just such a big state. But anyways, I guess we can get down to talking about the interesting race at the Xfinity Series. What did you guys think?
Well, the Saturday race, the Xfinity race, was honestly, I felt like the best. I don't know if I would say it was better than the Cup race, but it was close. I mean, different lead changes. It was pretty much a surprise winner in Eric, but Eric was strong all weekend. He started fourth. He did lead a couple points, but I thought Larson was going to run away with it. I mean, he led 53 of the 79 laps. I thought Larson was probably going to run away at the end, but obviously there's different pit strategies. We saw a lot of guys, go off the track. I mean, at times, but nothing too crazy. We did see Jeffrey Earnhardt wreck.
19 to go. We have our second caution of the day at Sonoma. It's the DoorDash 250 for NASCAR's Xfinity Series. Jeffrey Earnhardt went for a ride and hit the wall, and you can see the heavy damage there on the 45.
Yeah, so as this race goes through turn 10 right there just winds up being a lot of debris, and really, if you miss your entry and you wind up a little bit too wide, it's almost impossible to get the car back in the groove. And he just got a little wide on the entry and never got the car back in the groove and wound up in the fence. There's just not a lot of runoff on the exit of turn 10.
But nothing extra curricular. But there was multiple Cup drivers, like we mentioned in the last episode, that were going to be in this race. And one of those was Ross Chastain. He didn't run very well. He finished in 18th. We saw Daniel Suarez. He finished 27th, which is way off pace compared to what you would think. But honestly, at the end of the day, I was happy to see one of my favorite drivers, Eric Almirola, go back to victory lane. And if I'm correct, this is his first road course win, because he said he wanted to run more road course races. So he ran at COTA, but as he said in his post race interview, he was like, I've been trying to get better at road courses. I feel like I've been improving, and I've been wanting to get some more starts in the Xfinity Series at road courses before the Cup races. So it's pretty cool to see him win, and then his kids celebrate with him, go up to his car after he did his burnout, came down the front stretch. I thought it was pretty cool. And man, I'm just so happy to see him win again, because he's been, he's had a lot of criticism over the last 2 years, and there's been rumors of retirement and everything. I'm just happy to see my guy win.
Right. And yeah, plus I also want to bring up, I just thought it was super weird that, I feel like why didn't trucks race? I didn't understand that. That was kind of confusing to me. I don't know, we kind of brought it up in the last episode, but I still just kind of lost for them not having trucks. But overall, I thought the race was okay. And, just like Christian said, congrats. I feel like he hasn't won in a long time, and you can see the pure joy on his face. So, what do you think, Mike?
Well, first off, I want to agree with Christian's point with Daniel Suarez. He looked really off the entire weekend. Like, I feel like that Daniel Suarez is a better driver on road courses to where he should be up there in the top 10 or top 15 competing, not being in the 20s in the Xfinity series. And then on Sunday, something was wrong with his car. I don't know exactly. And then he ended up finishing really low when he was the winner last season. And again, I feel like he's a better road course racer than that. But race was okay. One moment that I do want to mention is Ross Chastain dumping John Hunter Nemechek. If you haven't seen that, here it is.
Season standings coming into today's race. Ross Chastain into John Hunter Nemechek. He goes around in turn 11. Mark that one down for later in the race.
He gave down on
Listen,
him.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like John Hunter Nemechek, again, I think we mentioned this a little bit. He drives kind of dirty at points, and to see him getting a taste of his own medicine and getting turned again, that was pretty good. So props to Ross for that. But yeah, overall the race was pretty interesting. I thought Larson was going to pull away as well. Like he was even beating out people like AJ Allmendinger. And Allgaier did a pretty solid job as well. But Eric Almirola winning that race honestly surprised me. Like when they had the final few stops, I thought that, he was either going to have to pit or there was going to be a restart and Larson was going to catch back up. But no, I don't know what happened to Larson at the end. It looked like he tried to overtake him on one of the final corners, and then he just ended up slipping off the track. I don't know what that was about. We saw that something similar that a couple of times, once with Joe Graff, and then the other time with technically the car owner, Ryan Sieg, even though I think he had a little help. But yeah, definitely surprising to see Almirola. Congrats to him. That's pretty cool to see him. And, to hear that he wants to improve on his road course racing, that tells me that he doesn't really want to retire. I don't know. It's a weird situation because I read somewhere this past week that he was, again, debating on if he really should retire or not.
Yeah, I mean, he is getting older. But I mean, it honestly wouldn't surprise me if he did. I mean, it seems like they've been trying to force him out of the ride. I know it's kind of a strange thing to say, but I feel like there's just been so much like public topic about him retiring that I feel like they're trying to take him out of the seat because there's a bunch of Xfinity drivers that are trying to come up right now, and they're trying to find spots for next year. So I'm not really surprised at all. I mean, it was the first Xfinity race at Sonoma. I wish the trucks would have ran again like they did last year, but for the first race for Xfinity Series at Sonoma, it was pretty solid. It wasn't like crazy. It wasn't a wreck fest, but at the same time, it reminded me a lot of the 90s.
I agree with that. Yeah. Taking a look at what you guys had to say, 29% said great, 43% said good, 29% said mess, that's okay. Nobody said bad. No thoughts. Driver today, Eric. I'm going to give it to Kyle Larson.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably go with Larson. He led like the most laps. He led, as I mentioned earlier, 59 or 50 of the 79. I would give it to him. He did have that slip up towards the end, but what about you, Cam? Oh my. But geez, so I guess now they wouldn't have like a race rating. I'll give it like
driver
a
of the
4
day
out of
first,
10.
Cam.
Oh yeah, I say Larson. If I guess I'm not clearly not on the right page here. Larson, yes.
And I'll give the race, I'll give it a 6.
Oh, I give it like a 5.5. I don't know. It was all right.
So now I guess we can talk about the Cup race. This seemed like more of a snooze fest, but what did you guys think of it?
Honestly, I mean, I feel like a lot of people were too harsh about the race. I mean, honestly, what do you expect with the stages and with everything that happened? It was just a lot of pit strategy, a lot of different guys up in the front at different points of the race. Like we saw, like Tyler Reddick up front at like up towards the front, and then just dropped all the way to the back towards the end. Yeah, just a lot of strange moves. Like some drivers that started towards the back, like worked their way up. I mean, there was like Kevin Harvick, who was 21st. He ended up finishing 11th, and Priest and Byron 13th and 14th. They started back in the 20s and worked their way up. And then some guys like Chris Buescher, they weren't up front the entire race, but they worked their way up. And then y'all's favorite driver, Joey Logano, did the same thing. He started 17th. So, yeah, just a lot of guys that I didn't expect to run that well did. I thought Hamlin, considering he's the pole sitter, he did lead win stage one. I thought he would have finished higher, but he obviously wrecked.
Whoa, a storyline. I can't say it. Denny Hamlin spun out on the front stretch. Yes, it is. Unbelievable. I didn't see what happened. I looked up. I was talking to you, Mike, over your shoulder. Denny Hamlin's backwards.
Just spun right at start finish.
Yeah, but you see the toe links broke on the back of that car.
I don't know about everybody at home, Clint, but you just gave me a heart attack.
Man, I'll tell you what, I couldn't believe it.
Definitely bent the right rear, right front.
I had Mike crying up.
Which hurt my fantasy team because I had him on my starters and I couldn't change it when I had Elliott as my garage pick. So I should have switched them out, but I didn't have the chance. But anyways, I thought that there was definitely different leaders. Hamlin led 33 of the 110 laps. Truex led 51 of the 110. Kyle Busch led 17 of the 110. But Chase Elliott made his return. He finished fifth. I thought Chase could have had a shot to win the thing, but obviously Truex had the best car. And if I'm correct, isn't this like his fourth win at Sonoma, or it was fourth or third?
Correct. It was his fourth win, and he's second in all-time wins in Sonoma behind Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that, Mike. And there wasn't many like bump and moving people out of the way as I kind of wish there was, because I like to see that in some of those turns at Sonoma. There's areas at track where you could obviously do that. We did see Dylan spin out, but nothing too crazy. I just heard a lot of complaints about the race, and I heard a lot of complaints about the commercials too.
Yeah. I just, I kind of group it up with Xfinity. I thought they're both kind of just the same, like a 5.5 rating if I had to give it one. Like I said, I think, Christian kind of summed it up pretty good in my opinion, but there was definitely some notable people that I didn't expect to be in the top 10, McDowell was in there. Allmendinger was in there. Buescher was in there. He was fourth actually. And you had my man Joey Logano, and then Kyle Busch too. Which I don't know why. I guess I wouldn't expect Kyle Busch to do good at Sonoma. So that kind of took me a surprise.
Well, I know he's won there in the past, but Kyle Busch is not really a driver I consider to be a road course ringer. So right. I get what you're saying there. The race, like I kind of said, was a bit of a snooze fest. It was really similar to the Xfinity race. Truex, he led the most laps, and it looked like the Toyotas of Hamlin and Truex really were the two cars that were the best at that point, plus Kyle Busch, and then Joey Logano later in the race. Reddick as well was solid, as a lot of people said that he would be, and he finally didn't necessarily screw over my fantasy too much.
He did finish back in where did he finish again? 30. He finished in 33rd. Yeah, that's pretty far
actually,
back.
he did. He did screw up my fantasy. Thanks, Reddick.
Same.
Another driver,
I had it too.
another driver that I thought would have done better was Austin Cindric. I considered him more of a road course guy as well with his success in the Xfinity series. But overall, the race is just I mean, I haven't been that much of a fan of Sonoma over the past couple of years. It's just not really my type of track. I like the road courses with more action, like Watkins Glen, Roval, Road America. I wish they'd bring that back. But yeah, overall, I guess I got to give the race probably a 5.
Yeah, another person I'd also say the two that kind of caught me by surprise that I thought might have done it just a little better, but I mean, Chase Briscoe, he was 29.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he would have done a lot better today, but he just didn't.
Yeah.
So
I was reading a lot of stuff actually about SHR. I can't remember who posted it, but somebody posted something about SHR and how they've been so bad as a team as a whole over the past couple of seasons. Like, he was complaining that Harvick deserves better in his last season and he shouldn't be fighting for top 15s with legacy and that he should be up in the front, which I can respect that opinion because we all know Kevin Harvick's a great driver and he does deserve top 10s, especially in his last season. And SHR, in my opinion, is kind of like how Joe Gibbs was at one point, where they need to just have that a couple or not Joe Gibbs, but like Hendrick was from like 2018 to like 2020, where they need to have a rebuilding season and they need to find drivers that can help them rebuild. And I feel like that's where Josh Berry is good enough to step in. Plus, if they get Zane Smith in one of the cars, I feel like those guys can really help them rebuild with Harvick out.
Gotcha. Well, one thing that I did find quite strange, there's 36 cars in the race, but 31 of them finished on the lead lap. Like, that's just insane. Like, you never see something like that happen, like in the 2000s or earlier. Like, that's just crazy. And all the cars were running at the end of the race except for Hamlin. So it's just, man, it just shows you like everyone was just out there to drive. No one was reckless, obviously. Suarez, I don't know what happened to him. You mentioned that a little bit earlier, like what happened to Suarez? Like, he was back in like 26. I guess they hyped him up way too much to repeat.
I mean, I take some responsibility for that, as I did pick him to win the race, and I look really stupid for that move. But taking a look at what you guys had to say, 0% said great, 43% said good, 57% said mess. That's okay. Nobody said bad. No thoughts. No driver of the day. I'm gonna have to give it to Martin Truex.
Yeah, Truex Jr. I mean, it's no doubt.
Finally, my time, I can say it right. Truex, all the way.
But this one other race note is that this was the last race for Fox of the season.
Yeah.
And can I just say, please get rid of Fox next season? I'm sorry. Or whenever they do this new TV deal, because I'm sick of them. I mean, there's a lot of fans that are sick of Fox. It's not just me. I mean, I think that they make their race broadcast kind of cringy and like they're trying to appeal to kids more than they are to like adults or like actual people trying to like enjoy the race, as opposed to like I'm trying to think of an example, but like Cam knows what I'm talking about. The UFC is very good at getting you in depth in the sport. They're very good at teaching you the sport if you're not familiar with it. And Fox, in my opinion, they have too many of these like skits. Like a couple skits here and there is okay. That's fine. But I feel like that their social media team and the race broadcast and really pretty much everybody really just tries to appeal to the ratings and like internet as opposed to fan enjoyment. You need to find a balance of both fan engagement plus the ratings. And there are a lot of fans criticizing Fox right now, and I don't blame them. They have good pit reporters like Jamie Little, and they end up using her poorly to make her some cringy Michael Waltrip sidekick. And Michael Waltrip is another thing. I'm sorry, but he is one of the cringiest race announcers I have ever listened to in my life. I know he doesn't do all the races and he just does mostly trucks, but every time that guy talks, I just want to mute the TV, especially with the truck broadcasts.
That's crazy.
I haven't mentioned it, but every time that like Jamie Little, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip are on, I want to mute the freaking TV. Phil Parsons is all right. He's solid. But Jamie Little and Michael Waltrip suck. Please don't have them on for another broadcast. I'm glad they're putting Kevin Harvick on, might I add. He's very good. But you know who I wish they would have full time? Tony Stewart. He is a great broadcaster. He gets you in depth in the race. You can tell he has so much knowledge about the sport, and he's overall a perfect broadcaster. He doesn't try to do cringy jokes to try to make people laugh. He just goes up there, talks about the race, and does what he's supposed to do. I love Tony Stewart, man. And I didn't like him as much when he was a driver, but I love him as a race announcer. I love him as a race owner, even though his team's not been that great. But overall, man, Fox needs to get their crap together because they are not the same as the early 2000s and the 2010s. They have just gone downhill off a cliff. And I know that there's a video that can even help me do it justice. Here's that right there on the cards. You can watch that after this or whenever you want to do it.
Well, I will say I definitely agree with you on some of those things. Some of them I obviously won't be like harsh. I think that obviously some of the talent they have is really solid. I mean, for what they have, but obviously, I will say I do like the cartoon animations they have. I like the leaderboard and some of the graphics, but honestly, like it's crazy, man. Like people really, really don't like Fox, and Fox used to be fun to watch. I could get why people don't like Fox. Like honestly, I get frustrated if I'm watching, like, so for instance, I watched Fox's YouTube videos, and the only highlights they show are the end of the stage. Like, I want to see more. I want to see passing. Like, come on here. Like, I want to see more of what's going on. But
hold on, we gotta cut this real
to
quick.
have half the races are on FS1. Like, come on now. Like, we want to watch it on normal TV. Most people don't have FS1.
Hold on, we gotta cut this, but when we come back, we're gonna continue the slander of Fox. And we are back with the Fox slander. Take it away, Christian.
Well, I don't really have much to slander. I just have some criticisms. Obviously, as I was mentioning, I feel like obviously there's commercials too. A lot of commercials, people feel like there's too much, and they have to pay the bills. Sponsors. They have to get sponsors in there, obviously. But obviously there's a lot of things that they could work better on. Like obviously the people controlling which camera switches. They could do a better job with listening to the announcing and making sure they don't cut off anybody and all that. There was multiple mistakes. I remember probably the most notable one was at Wilkesboro when Flipper was like, "Hey, let's stay on the onboard here," as we, they're listening to the car. Ron Blaney, was RPMs and him exiting the corners, and then they just cut it away from the onboard, and you could just hear Clinton Boyer throw something. Like you could tell he's frustrated. Like,
listen to this thing up off of 2. Stay with me here.
Obviously, there's going to be mistakes made during broadcast, and being someone who's done broadcasting, like I could understand some of those mistakes. But I mean, it's got to a point where I feel like there's definitely been a lot of mistakes. Like I feel like, and it's kind of sad to see Fox not become likable anymore among NASCAR fans.
Yeah, and another person that I really want to shout out that makes my viewing experience much better, and I wish that they would keep him around longer instead of his little time on the screen in the studio back in Charlotte, Larry McReynolds. That dude consistently knows what he's talking about every time. I don't know why they ever took him out. He was such a fan favorite. People loved him with Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip. And why take him out? What was the point of that? To get Jeff Gordon back in there? It's stupid. You could have had all 4 of them like how NBC does it, but no, they got to make Larry the odd man out, even though he's probably he's my favorite NASCAR broadcaster, no doubt. I love Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, he's smarter than most of them up there anyways.
Right, I agree. Larry has been down there as a crew chief. He knows what he's doing. He's one of the best crew chiefs of all time. Why take him out? He knows he's perfect. He brings enough personality to the broadcasting booth. He knows what he's talking about with racing, and he knows what's going on under the hood. It's just stupid to me to get another personality like Jeff Gordon just for the ratings instead of keeping what you already have with Larry McReynolds. He was perfect. But I guess now with NBC coming back in 2 weeks, I don't know how I feel about it. Because I think that NBC has been better than Fox the past couple years, but they're still not that great. I don't mind their coverage, but sometimes I find myself cringing. But I do like how their graphics are. Like I really like that they incorporate like who got a penalty. Like
Yeah.
Fox doesn't do that. Like I like how NBC has like, oh, penalty, Denny Hamlin speeding on pit road. That keeps you more involved in the race. I like that a lot. And I mean, NBC, I feel as well, has to play into the narrative that they have to, I guess, appeal to more fan engagement. And they also need to find more of a happy medium with that. But I don't know. And I'm not a big fan of their commentators as much. Like I don't mind Jeff Burton. He's good. Steve Letart's okay. Junior's all right. And Rick Allen's all right. They're just mid in my opinion. There's not really much to say, but I don't mind Kyle Petty. I like him. I like Dale Jarrett. I like Brad Doherty. But other than that, like the in booth, they're just mid in my opinion. I wish ESPN would come back. They were great.
Yeah, problems. But yeah, Rick Allen. I like NBC's coverage more than Fox. Obviously, I think they have a lot of talent as well. I've had like not much issues like watching any like NBC broadcasts. Like they do well in other motorsports as well too, like IMSA. And IndyCar too. I mean, I feel like they're just levels above Fox
like
in certain areas.
Right. I like Lay Diffie, the IndyCar announcer. I think he's really good. He brings the excitement. He's got some knowledge to the sport as well. So I think he does a really good job. I'd like to see him come on again for another NASCAR race. I know he's been on there before.
Yeah, and MRN, they're really solid. I've actually started. I've met a couple people with MRN over the last like couple months. And yeah, they've given me some insight of like what goes on with the broadcast and everything for on their side, even though it's not TV. And
right,
it's pretty cool. But honestly, Cam, what about you? What did you think? What do you think about all this?
I think, I think the commentating for NBC is definitely meh, but I do think they have the better coverage when it comes to catching crashes and catching what's going on in the action. I don't know. I kind of feel meh about both, like the on-screen things that you see. I think they're both kind of just meh. I don't know. I feel like ESPN really had it down back in the day, but besides that, I think the commentators, I'm okay with them. Like, they're all right. I just wish they had a little more character to them, like Clint Boyer, for example. I love Clint Boyer, man. When he's on the mic, I don't know why. I like when Clint's on the mic. He's got character to him. So,
yeah,
it's like guys like that are important, but, I don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to do it. I think it's going to be interesting for sure. And I wonder, I guess my question is, are they just going to keep it to NBC only? Or are they going to branch out to somewhere else?
Well, from what I've read, that NASCAR wants to try to get more involved in the streaming market, and they want to try to make a deal with Amazon to try to make the Xfinity Series streamable only, which I believe can't remember if we talked about this. I remember reading about it, and I remember saying my thoughts in group chats, but I don't remember if we actually talked about it on an episode. But
dude,
I don't think we did. Here's my official take on this. I understand why they would want to go to streaming, because streaming is really taking over as network TV now. I mean, we see so many like TV shows be only like streaming, like Stranger Things, for example. That's not on network TV. That's on only Netflix.
Well,
And
Netflix has fallen off though, honestly, lately.
okay, but
besides
that wasn't my point. My point is that streaming has kind of taken over, kind of like how instead of you buy a DVD, you could just rent a movie on a streaming service now. And that's just the way it is. This is the future of network television. We might not have TV channels anymore, and it'll all just be through like Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, all that. And I get why NASCAR would want to do that, and it's understandable. But what I don't like is that they want to make it exclusively streaming. I think what you should do first is you should stream the races but you should also keep it on network TV. Like with the NFL, they have a similar deal with Prime where they play Thursday Night Football on Prime, but it's not only on Prime. You can still watch it on major networks. Like when I was watching Washington play against, I think it was, can't remember who it was, but I know they played on Thursday Night Football. You could still watch it on Fox. They just had the game streaming as well to try to give more attention to the Amazon streaming. And that's the way it should be. I think that NASCAR should try it, and then if it's outperforming the TV network, then maybe stream it only, but no, don't jump into streaming immediately, especially if the fans aren't going to buy it just for
Well,
streaming.
that's my thing is I feel like you end up screwing your fans, right? Because it's like you're not taking into the circumstances of maybe those people don't have money or they don't have this or they don't have that. So it's just kind of like it's not really easily accessible to some people or reliable.
Exactly.
And so I think they'd end up losing a lot. And so I hope they wouldn't do that because I think that's pretty stupid. I mean, for me, it's just like MLB. MLB, for some reason, likes to have Apple TV have a game every once in a while, right? And sometimes you get screwed because if you don't pay for Apple TV, then you're not going to be able to watch it. And it like ends up screwing you over completely. It's really annoying. So, I always take that into play too, So, and really, I think if you want to stream it, why don't you go onto YouTube? That's a good place too. I mean, MLB does that I think it's every other Thursday, or maybe it is every Thursday, one of the two. They stream an MLB game. And so it's like, if you'd like to get into streaming, that's still full profit towards you. YouTube's not going to take any of that money away. That's a good way to test it out, before you just make a big jump to something like Amazon, where they're probably going to tax you crazy, and no one's going to want to pay for that, especially in this economy and in this market.
Right. And I mean, NASCAR has a great presence on YouTube. There's several creators. They have a decent YouTube channel where they post a lot of the highlights of the races, and they have onboard streams almost every week. I'm not sure about every week, but they do have a lot of like onboard cars. Like they'll pick one car and they'll show the race through their perspective. I like that. I think it would be cool to have that as well. But one thing that is kind of off topic that I like is how IndyCar does it. IndyCar in their app has like a place where you can watch multiple onboard cameras. I mean, NASCAR does too. But what I also like is that I think you can even watch the race through IndyCar's app, and you can listen to the radio broadcast of it. NASCAR doesn't have it where you can listen to MRN. You have to go to MRN's website, or you have to go on and have the MRN channel in your car. IndyCar has it all in one place. And I only know this because I wanted to listen to the Indy 500. So I give IndyCar a lot of props for how they've done that. But Cam, I definitely agree with a lot of your points, and I even missed out on the one with the money because I don't have a lot of money either. I'm a college student. I'm not going to pay for Amazon Prime just to watch an Xfinity race. My mom, fortunately, has Amazon Prime, but there's a lot of people that don't want to pay just to watch Xfinity.
Exactly. I mean, I don't even have like FS1 or, I didn't have NBCSN. So it's kind of like, if I'm going to watch one of those races, I'm going to go somewhere to watch it. Like, I'm not going to be able to watch it at home or watch it at work or on my phone. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
So in conclusion about that topic, NASCAR better not complain if they do this and make it exclusive to streaming. They better not complain when people illegally stream it like UFC fights.
That's crazy. But I guess now we could get into, I was going to say we get into either Le Mans or Meme of the Week next, right?
I guess we could talk a little bit about Le Mans because of the Garage 56 entry.
Yeah, I mean, Le Mans, man. Did you watch any of it?
No, I don't watch any Le Mans. No.
Dude, I love watching it. I mean, I didn't watch it as much this year because, I'm busy, but so from what I've like noted and from what I've watched, I thought it was really solid. LeBron was actually the honorary starter for the event, which surprised me. I didn't think that LeBron would do that at a motorsports event. But early on, we saw a lot of passing. First couple hours was, honestly, I only watched like maybe the first couple hours. And it looked great. I mean, it's 100th year, the 100 years for the 24 hours, and It lived up to the hype. A lot of people were there, and we saw a lot of great racing. We saw early on the Toyotas take over in the hypercar class in their category, and Toyota was really strong early, and then Ferrari ended up making their way up towards later on. But Cadillac, they finished third, fourth in the hypercar class. So I thought they would have finished second, but Toyota, they held their own. With Ferrari, those two cars, the 51 and the 8 for Ferrari, 51 and the 8 for Toyota, they were battling really hard there. And for throughout the entire race, there was one point, I think right before it got to nighttime, it started to rain and they had a couple wrecks. But out of the 62 cars, 22 did not finish, 40 did. The NASCAR, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, it was making passes on Ferraris, and I was seeing it make incredible passes with Jimmy Johnson, Rockefeller, and Bud, and it was so cool to see NASCAR in Le Mans, and I hope they go back there next year. It was just so cool to see. They did finish 39th in the race, which is pretty solid. They did finish 57 laps behind, but they made it the entire way. They were out there almost the entire time. There's a couple times they had to stop, obviously, and work on some things. But really cool moment for NASCAR and for Le Mans to have the return of NASCAR to Le Mans. And then obviously Ferrari broke that streak. And Ferrari's been struggling in motorsports for a while now. So for them to get a win was really huge for their company and for their entire motorsports company and team. So Ferrari ended up getting the win in the 24-hour race. Chevrolet won one of the other classes, and then the other class that won was the LMP2 class was won by Orca 07, which was a inter-Europol competition, the number 34 car. But that's all I really got to add. Just thought we mentioned that.
Before we get into meme of the week, I actually want to mention a couple of clowns of the week that I saw on social media.
Okay.
We haven't done clown of the week in a while, so we might as well bring this back.
Except for Chase recently.
Yeah, true. But the first clown is this random guy on Facebook. He writes, "Don't help that there's a lot of privileged rich folks out there too. Go back to old day style of racing. No cool suits, air conditioning helmets, and no care person following the driver around, making sure he has everything he needs. 90% of these drivers now would leave NASCAR." Sir, why do you live in 1950? Really? Like, you're literally living in 1950, and no like safer barriers and all that.
Oh, point. My thing is, the beginning of it sounded okay until he got to no cool suits, no protection.
I mean,
come on. I mean,
I
see his beginning of the point, right? Like, I could see, obviously, you have to have a lot of money to be in the sport now, and you have to have a lot of sponsorships, and you can't. There's no way to be like a independent, but to say that they shouldn't have like safety innovations or say they shouldn't have air conditioning and stuff, like, come on now. I mean, they didn't have that back then for a reason. Like, they didn't invent it yet. Like, come on.
Exactly. Right. Because nobody knew that there would be a lot of people dying because of those reasons. Like, does this guy want to see somebody die every week or
he must
get out of the car because of dehydration? Really? What an idiot.
Know. He probably thinks there should still be open face helmets too.
Probably. I don't know. He just thinks that these drivers are little scared punks just because they have fucking Hans devices, probably. I don't know. So
how about he hop in one of those cars and try to drive 200 miles per hour? How about he actually understands that it's still hot inside the cars? Like, come on, sir. Like, you're tripping, bro.
Yeah, you, sir, are a clown. Whoever you are a clown. And you are on the Nasboys Clown of the Week. And then this other dude made a custom diecast of Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s fatal crash, stat_3. And he's charging just about $300 plus $20 shipping. And the fact that people actually bid on this. You, sir, are a clown.
It's not funny, but it's just funny that it's ridiculous how much he would go to try to make money. Like, come on, sir. Like, you want to make a custom diecast of someone's fatal car wreck?
Yep.
Like, come on.
I know, and
not only that, but charge a ridiculous amount of money. I know eBay has some crazy people that sell diecast for like hundreds of dollars, which makes no sense. When you could literally go to like the Matron Antique Gallery in Mooresville and get some for like $10. But that is crazy. Like, that is, I mean, honestly, he could still rip you off too. He probably could.
I mean, it's just disgusting to think about when you think about it. That's someone's dad. You know what I mean? That's someone's dad's car. That's someone's uncle. That's someone's grandpa. That's someone, you know what I mean? Like in there, we've seen other cases of people doing this too. And at the end of the day, it's just evil. And you know, I think their excuse is always funny too. Well, it's an expensive car. If I want to break it, so I'm going for it. And it's like, well, if it's expensive and it's a valuable thing, then how about you don't break it?
It's not even the fact of it like being broken, because I've seen a lot of crashed cars that were well done. Like I've seen some from Austin Dillon, for example, when he had that big flip at Daytona in 2015. I've seen some for Ryan Newman when he had his big flip. But this is somebody's fatal crash. Like let's say if Dale survived that and he wanted to make that car, that's fine. But he died. He died a brutal death in that car. So many NASCAR fans, his friends, his family, were all distraught because of it. That's somebody's life. And it's kind of a mockery, in my opinion, to just make that. So that dude's definitely a clown for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it is definitely a mess. And I mean, it is disgusting. And I mean, it'd be crazy if the guy started making more. Like, imagine like he just starts making more of them, of like different people in NASCAR. Like,
but
that'd be just.
Anyways, enough of giving the clowns their 15 minutes of fame.
And then there was another clown I saw who returned back to the internet looking for sponsors. Former YouTuber that turned nuts. I'm not gonna say the other word because hey, I don't know if it's against the guidelines or not, but basically a creep. So how's he still out of like where he was at?
Oh yeah, and we all know who you're talking about. That guy. Yeah. I don't know what that guy's doing out of jail, and it's really sad that he's out of jail. If you've read about what this individual has done, it's sickening. It's disgusting that he's out of jail.
Yeah, and he's also like there's allegations he's had. I mean, they're not really allegations, but like proven facts, obviously. But then again, it's crazy all the different things that he's pretty much got away with.
Right.
In a way. But it did to act like he's like a good person online. Like he remembered, like, I don't know if you remember this, but when he like came back to YouTube for a little while, he was like, oh yeah, he's trying to be like a positive, like he's trying to like his content was kind of like he was trying to be a positive influencer in a way. And he's like, oh y'all, thank y'all for sticking with me and supporting my journey of success and all this stuff. Even though he fell off obviously because he got, because he did those actions, and then for him to be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to fulfill God's purpose in my life and all this stuff. I don't know, he was just contradicting his actual beliefs. And it was just cringe. Nothing. I don't want to give any more attention to that, but just another clown of the week.
I agree 100%. But I guess now we can talk about meme of the week.
Yeah. So meme of the week, we got a couple here. The first one is actually by diecast person man Sam about the highlights of the race, which it pretty much was. That was pretty much the highlights of the race, to be honest. Next meme of the week, we have tremendations about, obviously Mike Joy was tripping there. Tony Stewart did not beat Truex Jr. in that race.
Year-old Tony Stewart beat Truex here on the last lap in 2016.
40. He beat Hamlin. I don't know what he was saying there. There was another one I said of the racing memes of Larson trying to catch Almirola and then just yeeting himself.
But this is his where he's at a disadvantage right there. He enters shallow.
So those were honestly my nominees for meme of the week. There was the NASCAR at Gateway too with Lightning McQueen and chasing that kid. But what would y'all say would be meme of the week?
I think my favorite was probably the one with Mike Joy messing up with saying Truex instead of Hamlin. Like, I didn't know Truex drove the 11 car for a race. What, Mike Joy? That's crazy.
Yeah, I think the same. Yeah, mixing them up was funny.
Personally, even though it's not NASCAR, there's a funny meme of the Le Mans that Trepidation did as well, of them just skittering out of control and wrecking in the rain. But for the NASCAR side of meme of the week, I'm gonna say diecast person man. Why not have Sam's as meme of the week? I know Sean posted it, but it was really Sam that made the video. He did give credit to him, but yeah, I thought that was it had words on the screen, and I felt like it was more creative because of the different clips that he used.
Yeah, I thought that his meme was well done, but it was also generic because I've seen too many commercials or I've seen too many memes about the commercials. we get it. There's too many commercials in Fox. Why do we have to keep making memes about it? But I do agree that it was.
Good point.
I do agree that his video was creative. I'll give him props for that. But I guess we can get into picks for not this weekend, but the next weekend's race at Nashville, which it really sucks that there's an off week for NASCAR. I don't know why they don't take off for Mother's Day, but they take off for Father's Day. I mean, I understand because most of the drivers are fathers, but you know, you should be able to spend some time with your mother too and have an off week. But I don't know. That's just my random, probably controversial take. But I guess first off, starting with the truck series, all three series are going to race. If Ryan Preece is in the truck race, then I'm going to go with him because I know that he has run the last few truck races at Nashville and has done well. Yeah. So I'm going to go with him. But if he's not, then I'm going to go with Zane Smith.
You know, Preece is a good pick. The only thing that I would not pick him for is because he's had some pretty bad wrecks on a 1.5 mile tracks. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't pick him. But honestly, I'm going to give it to a guy that he won recently, but he seems to like he's been on a roll, and that is Grant Enfinger. I know it's kind of a random pick, but he's been kind of turned things around compared to the start of the season.
Yeah, he had to fill in for Noah Gragson, by the way, who had a concussion after his big hit a couple weeks ago at Gateway. Prayers for Noah. Hopefully we'll see him back in the car for Nashville. And then, by the way, Cam, who's your pick? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, no, you're okay. I'm going to go Hocevar. He came in third last year. He came in third last year, so I think he's going to be pretty good.
And then for the Xfinity Series, I don't know if there's going to be a cup driver racing. So if there is a cup driver, I'm going with him. I believe it would either be Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, William Byron, or Kyle Busch, one of those four. But if there's no cup driver, I'm saying Justin Allgaier.
Not bad. I was gonna say for the truck race too. I think it'll be a wreck fest in the truck race just because trucks are out of control. They're just been out of control this year. But the Xfinity series, it's kind of a risky one. But I want to say Austin Hill. I heard my
That's not bad.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm going a little different here. I'm gonna go Ty Gibbs.
Okay.
He came in fourth last year.
If he's in it. I don't know if he's in it, but if he is, then you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ty Gibbs. Okay, if not Ty Gibbs, then I'll go Allgaier too.
Okay. And for the cup race, I'm gonna say that Denny Hamlin wins it. I think that he's been really solid at Nashville. He's had a couple of rough weeks, but maybe he can rebound. I don't know. We'll see. I think I could see him winning at this track. I could see him turning things around. So we'll see how it goes for Hamlin. I don't think it's that bad of a pick. A little risky.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cup race would be the best race of the weekend. I just think that with this package, the mile-and-a-half races have been pretty solid. And for Nashville Super Speedway, I think Cup Series have been doing pretty solid there, despite it not being. Obviously, there hasn't been a lot of wrecks, but it's still been fun. I mean, I know some people be like, "Oh, they don't wreck a little bit." It doesn't matter. It's not. You're supposed to watch the race not for the wrecks. But
I like Nashville. Yeah,
it is what it is. But I'm gonna pick a driver that has run well here before, and I think he just looks like he can win at Nashville, and he's won at other mile-and-a-half tracks for the last couple of years. I'm gonna say Kyle Larson.
That's a good pick.
You took two of my picks, Christian. I'm a little upset because now I gotta go a little different because I don't like being the same. You know what? I think I am. I think Chase Elliott's gonna do it. He had it last year, so I feel like he has been a little better recently. So I'd be interested.
We'll see. We'll see. Chase Elliott's not a bad pick. He's been solid at Nashville. I think that the Cup race will be solid, and as a matter of fact, I think the whole weekend will be solid. I really like Nashville. So
and plus, expect that as an incoming Chase Elliott diss. By the way, no offense, but
as long as Chase Elliott doesn't right hook somebody into the fence. But
there you go. Boom.
There you go.
All right. And so with that will conclude this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials. Enjoy your NASCAR off week. We'll try to get some videos out for you guys for some enjoyment, such as an episode where we just talk about life and hopefully a car crash reaction. So I hope you guys enjoy those while we rest up and watch the race and enjoy Father's Day.
All you fathers that are out there, happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
Yep. And we will see you guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Calling out.